Hey Diego, what's going on?
What's up? Doing good. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm so excited because you have so much knowledge to share with everyone on this call. Just take a moment for those who don't know who you are, introduce yourself, your company, what do you guys do?
So my name is Diego Dante. I run RoofCon, which we just had in Orlando, Florida. And it's basically a business convention for the roofing industry. And we've been growing that over the last few years and been able to just develop good partnerships with people like you guys and other vendors in the industry and then roofing companies. And then my background, I ran a roofing company for a little bit, but my background before that was marketing. I was in marketing for 7 years before I even discovered the roofing industry.
Awesome. So this is going to be great for everyone on this call who's obviously looking to learn more about marketing. Quick question, how'd you hear about us? Do you remember how you heard about Business 411 or any of our products?
Yeah, it's funny. I connected with Liz originally on Facebook, and this is funny. I don't know if Liz remembers this. I think she had seen something about RoofCon and she hadn't attended before, and so she was asking some questions on Facebook about it. And I just reached out to her and I was like, "Hey, I think you should attend. I think you'd really like it, all this stuff." And then we, just stroke up a conversation about that and we're able to have her that year to come in and be a part of the marketing panel at RoofCon, and then from there just been able to get to meet all you guys and been able to work with you guys, and now I'm excited that we're planning some events together and all this stuff. So, but yeah, just through the power of Facebook. So love social media for that, just building community.
Yeah, I love that your conference brings everyone together. It's always like a reunion for everyone who knows each other to all hang out and have a great time and learn. And you're right, Facebook, the power of Facebook is incredible for partnerships, for clients, for making new friends. It's just really awesome. So you deal with so many different roofers. I mean, you guys throw one of the best conferences in the roofing industry, and you talk to roofing owners all the time. What trends do you see happening in the roofing industry right now?
I think a lot of people are because of some of the stuff that's happening with claims not getting approved and that type of stuff, where there's a lot of changes in the way that the insurance restoration is working. It's very different now than it was when I got into the industry just a few years ago. But because of that, a lot of people are leaning more on their digital marketing, growing a brand, that type of stuff. I feel like we weren't talking about that as much on social media just like 4 years ago, where now people are talking about building a brand, and your their strategies on Google and their strategies on this and that, and a lot of people are just focused on how do we now drive some inbound leads, because not to say that everyone's going away from door knocking. I think that's going to be here forever, but it's just changing, right? It's just a matter of everything changes every few years, and this is no exception.
Yeah, it's interesting. All the conversations I've been having recently are all around branding because I think people are starting to understand the importance of branding. And I know you guys do firsthand because you've built RoofCon to what it is today. How has building the RoofCon brand impacted the company and the conference's growth?
I think that a lot of people view RoofCon more of as a movement than an actual conference. And we've pushed that, or we've added to the fire there of that. So it's to the point where we've got people that are tattooing the RoofCon arrow on their arms and stuff like that. And there's probably right now like 5 people not on our team that have a RoofCon arrow tattoo on them. And but again, it's just a matter of like the people see what we're doing, they see it as a movement, and it's not just a conference. Like if it was just a conference, there's dozens of other conferences where people could go, but we've just decided to make it a part of, yeah, just build a community. And that's one big thing that I think a lot of people are missing when they're talking about building a brand. It's just like, oh, my logo looks cool, or this and that. It's like these colors are cool, the font is cool. It's like that's not branding. The branding piece, I mean, that's part of it, but it's like, how does this make me feel if I'm a consumer, right? And then the community piece is, I think, is a piece that everyone misses out on. It's like, how do I build community so that way, like, I feel good about the people that are involved, and like that's the thing that we all strive to have as human beings, is connection with other people. And it's like, how does my brand help the consumer feel that connection with me and with the people around them through the purchase that they're making, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yes, it definitely does. And I think a lot of people are wondering, well, what, how do you feel? What makes a contractor's company actually stand out in today's market? And you shared something with me, which I believe you call the lead trifecta strategy. Could you share that with everyone on this call? I think it would have tremendous value for them.
Yeah, I think that's just a matter of that's the strategy piece, right? And I'll talk about it in a second. I think that the product a lot of times speaks for itself too, right? And so you have to do a good job of building a product that people want to share with other people. But when you're starting out, one of the things like we started when I joined the team in 2020, they had just had RoofCon 2019, there was 50 people. And now the last 3 years we've averaged 4,000 people registering for the show. That's on average, upwards of 5,200 people last year. And this is in a span of 5 years, right? So it's part of it is definitely this, how do you generate leads? But part of it is making sure that you have a good product. And I don't want to downplay that, because you can sell something all day long and you could be a great salesperson, but if your product sucks, then people aren't going to want to buy it anyway, right? So now that we got that out of the way, we at RoofCon, we need to have a lot of transactions for people for us to be able to run a business. Like a lot of roofing companies, you sell 80 roofs in a year and you've made $1 million. Like for us, with our ticket price being lower than, a roof, let's say, we have to have thousands of transactions. And so we've been developing, really, it's not anything that most people wouldn't know, but it's something that people don't think about when it comes to generating leads. You don't consider the fact it's a matter of knowing the thing is one thing, and then the application piece is the other piece. So I'll talk about that a little bit. You mentioned the trifecta of lead generation. Most companies, when they're starting out, they get really good at one source of lead generation. And I'll give you the three most popular ones. If you go read the book, have you read the book or heard of $100 Million Leads, Alex Hormozi?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's like almost like the new marketing Bible, right? And so he goes into I think he has like 8 different ways of generating leads in there. And I think those are great. I think for roofing companies, there's 3 that really make sense. So you have your outbound, then you have your inbound, and then you have your referrals, right? So outbound is going to be like your door to door, any way that you are going out and you are finding the person that is going to buy your product. Most people, when they're starting out, it's door to door, right? Especially in insurance restoration. I'm going to guess that are most of the people watching this probably storm restoration contractors, or do you have a good mix of everything?
We have a good mix. We have people who are retail, who are storm, who we have newer companies, larger companies. So we have a pretty good mix on here.
Okay, perfect. So this will apply to everyone. So door to door, if you have your storm restoration, you're going out, you're knocking after storms, you're doing that type of stuff. Maybe you're not a roofing company, maybe you're doing something else. Like for us, our outbound is going to be, we're cold calling roofing companies to get them to come to RoofCon. We're cold calling people that could be exhibitors to come to RoofCon. But it applies to every company. You have some sort of outbound strategy. Your inbound strategy is going to be, you are now capturing the people that are looking for your services. So that's going to be your digital marketing. Most of the time is how you're capturing those people. Sometimes it's SEO, sometimes it's paid ads, but people are looking for a roofing contractor and you are capturing those people. And then your referrals, that's going to be your, maybe you're building systems out with insurance agents or realtors or whatever else, right? Getting other people to now hunt for you. So most people get really good at one of these. I'm going to start out, we'll say the door to door. People get really good at door to door, and they're like, man, this is how we're generating all these leads. And they never diversify out of that. So the point of the lead trifecta is to say, let's continue getting good at the one you're really good at. And then let's find another one that we can start adding to our portfolio for lead generation. So I'll give you an example. When I ran a roofing company, we were doing all referrals. Everything we had coming in was all 100% referrals. We're mainly working with insurance agents and realtors. And then we started working on our inbound strategy. I was like, all right, I'm a marketing guy. I can figure this out. We're going to start, doing local service ads, and we're going to, build out a website that's really good, and it's going to, generate leads for us and all this stuff. And we did, and it got really, really good results. We were getting like, 20 calls a day from local service ads. Well, what happened? We stopped doing referrals because we were like, why are we focusing on getting more realtors to give us stuff when literally everything's coming in through our local service ads? We stopped doing that, and our license, we renewed it, and we didn't realize that we had to send a new one out to Google for them to keep sending us referral, or to keep sending us leads. And all of a sudden, all the calls stopped because we forgot to do that one thing. And then it took like 2-3 weeks by the time that they got the new one, they started sending us more leads. But the problem that this highlights, and that a lot of people run into, is we stopped doing the thing that we're really good at because we found it may be just shiny object syndrome. It could be, hey, we found another strategy that works. What I'm trying to tell people to do is continue doing the thing that you're really good at. Let's add another piece. Let's get really good at that. And I haven't seen a lot of companies that are like, hey, we do all three of these perfectly. I've seen some people that get really good at maybe two of them, and regardless of which ones they are. But I want people to start thinking about this of like, where am I at with my business? Am I really good at door to door? How can I start generating leads? Maybe other people in this masterclass are going to talk through, how to generate more leads through local service ads or through all these things. The big piece of it is, again, this is not anything new that most people haven't heard of. It's just a matter of keep working on the thing that you're good at. Let's start working on adding one more piece, whether it's whichever one of these. And that's how we're going to continue. That's how we can double our lead sources. We got to the point, once we actually figured it out with the roofing company, we had to hire a call center because we couldn't even keep up with all the inbound leads that we had. But we continued doing all the other stuff then with the realtors. And frankly, we didn't do any outbound. We weren't knocking doors, even though we were in a storm market, because I just personally don't like knocking doors. I know that's kind of like not the popular thing to say in the industry, but I'm just not a door knocker. So hopefully that was somehow beneficial to people watching, because again, I think it's stuff that we all kind of realize, yeah, we got to do some of this, we got to do some of that, but I think most people don't visualize it like this. And I think once you visualize it like this, it can really help you to figure out what your strategy needs to be for your marketing.
That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest mistakes that I always tell people is going all in on one area of marketing and not diversifying your marketing. We always do a 360 marketing approach where we hit different verticals because, like you said, we can't control some of these other platforms. And if something happens, you don't want that to affect or hinder the growth, success, and scalability of your business. So I think the trifecta is so important. Let's just say somebody has one of these three going right now. How do they know it's that turning point where, like, okay, we've hit gold, we've mastered this one, now we can move to that second?
Yeah, I think once you're doing it really, really well and you're not having to, optimize it every single week, because that happens every time, right? Like if I'm going to start door knocking, what's going to happen? I'm going to go out, I'm going to knock a bunch of doors. I'm going to realize, hey, that one thing I'm saying isn't working. So you're going to get to a point where you've optimized it to the point where you've got it just right. And then what you're going to want to do is you want to put people in place. This is leadership, right? You want to put people in place to be able to keep people accountable to make sure those things are still happening so that you can focus as the leader of your company on the vision of the next step that you got to do, right? Because we can't do everything. This is the one thing that I still struggle to this day of I feel like I can lead the whole company. I feel like I can do all this thing. It's like, yeah, that's fine. I can do all the pieces, but I'm not going to be able to scale until I can pull myself out of some of those things once I've optimized it enough.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We try to conquer and take on so much when there's really someone else who might be even better suited and can do it better because they have more time or more experience. And that's something I've seen hinder us business owners or leaders within an organization, right? Is not being able to actually break that apart and delegate it to someone who could handle it. What are your thoughts? Have you heard the terminology of digital door knocking?
Yeah, yeah, I've
Well,
heard it. So specifically in the sense of like automations and that type of stuff. I think that that stuff is great. We do that quite a bit, capture people's data and then basically use automations to be able to, keep doing follow-ups and that type of stuff. Now, you might be referring to someone else. That's the term I've heard.
yeah, no, definitely. Because one of the things I think is people were so used to door knocking, and I know you said I don't like door knocking, and some people do, some people don't. If it works, great. I always say if something's working and getting you deals, that's fine. Double down on it, but don't just rely on that, right? What we're talking about. But I think there's people who sometimes people get stuck in what's working that they're scared to add anything new to the mix. So we can accomplish a lot of what people are doing with door knocking with digital, right? By actually reaching the same exact households, the same business owners or property owners that they're targeting physically, we could reach them digitally. What would you say to anyone who's like considering like the door knocking's been strong for them? They have that one pillar of the trifecta down, but they're kind of hesitant to try something new like digital.
Yeah, I think I'm always cautiously optimistic when I find new ways of doing things, right? So I do see the perspective of, being afraid of something where you don't know exactly what it is that you're adding to your business. I think the key in all that is to just be educated in what it is that you're adding to your business. Because you can't keep people accountable to something that you don't fully understand how it operates. And that's the thing with marketing in general is we just expect to be able to add an agency and like, oh, this is when I add this agency, we're gonna add 100 leads a week to our business by adding this because people have all these big promises and everything else, and it's like yeah, we that might work. More than likely, what's gonna happen is you're not gonna be able to set proper expectations, and then everyone's gonna be disappointed a few months in. So I say all that to say we need to be educated in what we're adding to our business so that we can keep other people accountable so we can understand exactly how it's going to work and we're not frustrated and we have proper expectations. But also, we have to be willing to try new things within the business because the people that aren't trying new things, aren't innovating, those are the people that are going to be left behind. Because we talked about things like at the beginning where we talked about all the changes coming with storm restoration, all the things that are happening that are different from a few years ago. If we continue operating in 2025 the same way that we operated in 2020, just because we refuse to innovate, we're going to be left behind. And it's the same exact thing with digital marketing. Like we have to be willing to try the new things, but educate ourselves enough to keep other people accountable.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's why we actually are doing this video right now, is because we believe so much in the education component and enabling people to have the power and the knowledge to make better decisions for their business, for their growth. They don't have to be doing it. They just have to understand it enough to be able to know what key players or key items they need to put into place to grow. And you've actually met not only yourself with RoofCon and your organization and the success you've accomplished, but you also talk to very successful company owners. You deal with them all the time, right, through the conference. Curious, what traits do those owners have in common? Like, is there something you said you can pinpoint that all the successful company owners or leadership they have in common?
It's leadership skills. I think that's the biggest thing is people that develop themselves as leaders are able to accomplish more because they're able to get other people to accomplish their mission. It's one thing to say, hey, I want to accomplish this thing, and I go out and I accomplish it. It's a completely new thing to say, I want to accomplish this thing. I can't do this all by myself. I can't go sell $20 million all by myself. So I have to go get other people, get them bought in on the mission, get them to actually execute on the mission. But none of that happens if you don't have good leadership skills. And so things like, I won't even throw RoofCon into the mix. Let's say things like reading books and going to other seminars and going to these things where like we are learning how to become leaders and more than anything experience. Like it's not going to come overnight, right? So we have to develop as a leader, that's the thing that I see the biggest way in which someone can scale is to start developing themselves as a leader. And John Maxwell said, everything rises and falls on leadership. And I think that's 100% true. You have to develop as a leader, and that's the thing that takes people to the next level.
I absolutely love that you brought John Maxwell to RoofCon over the years, or it was a couple of years ago now, I think, but
yeah.
Such a solid, I mean, everyone can learn from him. Leadership's so important. I actually heard something recently, millionaires focus on building processes, billionaires focus on building people. And I think that's really what it comes down to when you're building a substantial organization and even just impacting your community.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm not going to pitch anything for us, but if you pick up Hunter's new book, which you can get for free, if you go to therevolt.com, you can get 8-Figure Blueprint, which is Hunter's new book. And in it, he talks about basically those traits that help people to go from, making 7 figures to making 8 figures in their business. And that's one of the biggest things. It's just leadership. It's getting other people, like you said, to buy in, to execute on your mission. Because that's the biggest thing, is like, everyone can have a vision. Not everyone can get other people to execute on your vision.
I love that. And yeah, absolutely. People should go pick up that book, especially if it's free. I mean, that's just value on value on value. So definitely check out Hunter's new book. I'm going to actually check it out myself because I don't think I've had the chance to read it. And I want to wrap with anyone who's listening to this call. Obviously, you have so much knowledge to share, but everyone who's listening, why should they attend next year's RoofCon? Besides it being awesome, which it always is.
I mean, our biggest thing, like I said, we're focusing on the business. We're focusing on leadership, and that's our mission. Is we want to develop leaders within the roofing industry. So yeah, obviously, like, we have the trade show and we have breakout sessions that are going to be more tactical information. But I think the biggest differentiator between us and everyone else is that we are going to help you to be able to develop as a leader. And then more than that, we have a great community. We have a community of people that when you see the people at RoofCon, it's like, oh man, I am home. Like, these are my people. That's how I feel. And that's the biggest piece of feedback that I hear from people at RoofCon is like, you go to the other trade shows and they're good. Like, we're seeing good people there. There's value, all the stuff. But you go to RoofCon and I call it, I just say that the amount of bro hugs I get at RoofCon is crazy because it's just community. It's just all the people there are family. And that's the biggest reason that people need to come to RoofCon. So you can be a part of the community and be a part of a community of people that want to become better.
Absolutely. And I've actually made friends from RoofCon. Now I see every year at RoofCon, and it's like our reunion every year where we see each other and catch up. So you've definitely done a great job creating community. And I think to end this, it's really leadership. People are on this call today because they're looking to lead in their marketing, but leading not just in marketing, their company, lead their community, lead their family, right? Leadership is so important in everything we do, from our personal to our professional and in our day-to-day. So thank you so much for taking the time and for sharing everything you did today in the lead trifecta. I know everyone got a lot of value from this. So thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much, Ariel.
Awesome. All right. We'll catch you soon.
All right, bye.